One of my favorite things to do as an NBA fan is look back at past NBA drafts. And if you guys watch the channel, you know that I've made a few videos on redrafts, but what I'm going to be doing today is looking back at all of the first overall picks in NBA drafts from 2000 up until 2019 and ranking them from worst to best. When I do redrafts, it's very interesting, and one of the most interesting things to do when you're redrafting a draft is look at where the number one overall pick is going. Some of them do end up going first overall again in the redraft, some of them go near the middle of the pack in the lottery, and some of them don't even make the lottery. Those are the big busts. And like I mentioned, what I'm going to be doing today is ranking the first overall picks from 2000 until now, from best to worst. But before we start though, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Still only about 10% of you guys watching are subscribed, which means 90% of you aren't. So make sure you do so you don't miss out on any new videos. Starting at number 19, the worst first overall pick is Anthony Bennett. I don't really know what to say about Anthony Bennett other than the fact that he's going to be the biggest bust of all time, and I was rooting for him because he's a good Canadian guy, but it just didn't work out. At number 18, we've got Kwame Brown, another huge bust, not to the extent of Anthony Bennett, but he will go down as one of the biggest busts of all time as well. Coming in at number 17, I've got Greg Oden. He was the first overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft, where the first pick was between him and Kevin Durant. Yeah, I'm sure the Trailblazers would like to have that one back. But anyway, I feel bad for Greg Oden because he actually could have had a decent NBA career if it wasn't for injuries. But injuries really did take his career, which, as I mentioned, is very unfortunate, and he is also a huge bust. At number 16, we've got Andrea Bargnani. Another bust, but really not to the same extent as the other guys. He still did really have a decent NBA career, being a decent scorer throughout his entire career, but he really wasn't that efficient, and he definitely didn't live up to the hype of what he should have been. At number 15, I've got Andrew Bogut, and you can see we're starting to move out of the category of busts and into the category of role players, and really that's what Andrew Bogut has been throughout his career. Definitely hasn't exactly lived up to the hype of being a number one overall pick, but throughout his career, he's been a good traditional big man that can add value to any team that needs a big man, and he's put up about 10 points and 8 rebounds for his career. At 14, we've got Markelle Fultz, who was the first overall pick in the 2017 draft, and in this video for years like 2017, 2018, and 2019, I really just have to base it off potential and what I think these players are going to be as their careers go forward. But for Markelle, he definitely looked like he was going to go down as one of the biggest busts ever. But over the recent years, he's really turned into a pretty good role player. With the Magic, he's been their starting point guard and has averaged around 12 points with good playmaking when he's been at his best for them. So that's what I can see as his career goes forward as well, him being a decent role player, and that's why he's ranking here. At number 13, I've got Andrew Wiggins. And Andrew Wiggins is another guy that definitely hasn't lived up to the hype, but he shouldn't be considered a bust. As I mentioned in the Canadian players video that I made, Andrew Wiggins is the guy that each year we think this is the year he's going to break out and prove that he has what it takes to be first overall pick material. He never does, but we still do have to give him credit for averaging around 20 points per game each season. And he doesn't impact the game in many other ways, as he probably should. So he's not really that much of a complete overall player. But I really think in this video we are starting to get into the category of guys that have shown that all-star level play throughout their careers now. Coming in at number 12, I've got DeAndre Ayton. And this ranking is really based off of what I see DeAndre Ayton doing with his career as it goes forward and his first 2 years in the league. He was the first overall pick in 2018, and we know that Luka Doncic should have gone first overall in this draft. But if we were to do a redraft right now, Ayton would still go in the top 5, and I can see him improving on his game as it goes on. And last year he averaged about 18 and 12 per game, and I can see him improving on that as his career goes on and potentially making an all-star team. His defense will get better as well as the years go by, and all these reasons are why DeAndre Ayton ranks here on this list. Number 11 is Yao Ming, and Yao Ming is another prime example of someone who had their career ruined by injuries. He only played 7 full seasons in the NBA because the foot injury that he got in 2010 really ended his career. But we still have to give Yao Ming credit for making the All-Star team 6 out of the 7 years that he played in the NBA. And that's why his ranking here, he would rank a lot higher if he had a full career without injuries, but because of those, he has to rank here, unfortunately. Kicking off the top 10 now, at number 10, I've got Ben Simmons. And if Ben Simmons wants to play point guard throughout the rest of his career, his inability to shoot is something that's going to hold him back and really hold him back on this list. I'm really not a big fan of his scoring game either, and I don't think it's that good and complete in my opinion. But we still have to give Ben Simmons credit for being a very good passer, rebounder, and a very good defender who could possibly win a Defensive Player of the Year in his career. He's also made the All-Star team already multiple times and will many other times throughout his career, so 10 is definitely where he has to rank on this list at the very least. At number 9, I've got Karl-Anthony Towns. Towns is a guy that I can see being the best big man in the league potentially one day. And even now, I actually think he is the best offensive big man in the league. But the only thing holding him back is his defense. And I think that could get better though as his career goes on, as he matures, and really just gives more effort on the defensive end of the floor, which is what he has to do. In terms of his offensive game, as I mentioned, he's probably the best offensive big man in the game right now, maybe slightly behind Jokic, but the reason I say that is because he's a very good three-point shooter, shooting about 40% from 3 so far over his career and last season, and he averaged 27 points per game last season, which is incredible. And really because of that, he should be higher on this list, but as I mentioned, his defense is holding him back. If that gets better, I would not be surprised to see him a lot higher on this first overall picks list. Number 8 is John Wall. And I can see guys like Karl-Anthony Towns and Ben Simmons maybe passing John Wall as the years go by, because I don't think he's going to come back and be the exact same player that he was before after his Achilles injury. But with that being said, he still has to rank here at 8 on this list. He's been an electric player throughout his career, extremely fast, has made the All-Star team multiple times, and averaged about 19 points and 9 assists per game throughout his career consistently, so we have to give him credit for that for now. At number 7, I've got Blake Griffin. Griffin's a guy who's fallen off a bit over the last few years and will continue to in my opinion, but just like John Wall, he's made the All-Star team many times. It definitely has to rank at least in the top 10, and I have him here at 7. Throughout his career, at times he's been very dominant, especially near the rim. He's been an incredible player in the post, and even throughout his career sometimes has been a decent three-point shooter. We have to give him credit for all of these things and his overall game over his career, but the fact that he hasn't won a championship over his career is maybe holding him back about 1 or 2 spots on this list, as he could have with the Lob City Clippers. But as I mentioned, his overall game is incredible and he has to rank here at 7. At number 6, I've got Zion Williamson. Now hold on, just hear me out for a second, because I know Zion shouldn't be this high, but like I said, I'm basing this off of potential for guys like Ayton and Zion. And I think Zion's going to win an MVP in his career. So this is why I have to have him here, and maybe even in the top 5. So in a couple of years when we look back at this list, 6, in my opinion, is going to be a good spot for Zion, because he's going to be incredibly dominant inside and in the post, just like Blake Griffin, and in my opinion, a level up of Blake Griffin, and that's why I have him ranked a little bit higher on this first overall picks list. So the fact that I think Zion might win an MVP throughout his career and make the All-Star team many times, and potentially lead a team to a championship even in his long career, is why I think he's going to rank here at 6 when we look back at this list in a few years. At number 5, I've got Kyrie Irving. At times throughout Kyrie's career, he's proven that he's a very winning player, as he even contributed to winning a championship with LeBron and the Cavs. But over the last few years, he hasn't really proven that, and in my opinion, he needs to reprove that he's a winning player. But with all this being said, he still definitely deserves to be in the top 5 here, because he's one of the greatest ISO players of all time, can shoot the mid-range very well and the 3, score in a ton of different ways, and is one of the best ball handlers, if not the best dribbler we've ever seen. So because of this, he definitely ranks in the top 5 of first overall picks from 2000 until 2019. At number 4, I've got Derrick Rose. Honestly, who doesn't love D Rose? Unfortunately, his career was taken because of injuries, and he hasn't been able to have a huge impact over the recent years because of this, and that's why he can't rank 1 or 2 here. But we all know that prime D Rose was simply just built different. We all know that he won an MVP as well in 2011, and that's the main reason he's ranking here and over Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's been an incredible player, but he's never won an MVP, and despite contributing to a championship, Derrick Rose almost led a team to a championship, probably could have in my opinion, with his Bulls team if he didn't get injured. And the fact that he won an MVP and was just such a dominant overall player and overall scorer in his prime years is why he ranks this high for me. At number 3, I've got Dwight Howard. I really think people need to appreciate Dwight Howard's career more and for what it fully is. When he was in his prime, which was a long time ago, but it was a very long-lasting prime, and he was extremely dominant at all of these things, including scoring inside extremely efficiently, being a dominant rebounder, and a great defender who could protect the rim better than anyone. So much so that he led the league 2 times in his career in blocking shots, 5 times in his career in rebounds, and once in field goal percentage with an astounding 61% from the field. And prime Dwight Howard is the main reason why he's ranking this high on the list, and it was a very hard decision between him, D Rose, who I put at 4, and Kyrie, who I put at 5. But really the main reason I'm ending up putting Dwight the highest is because he's done something that none of those other 2 guys have done, and that's lead a team all the way to the NBA Finals. Kyrie won a championship, but that team was led by LeBron. D Rose could have if it wasn't for injuries, but he ultimately didn't. And Dwight Howard led the 2009 Magic all the way to the NBA Finals, led by his dominance and, like I mentioned, his rebounding, his inside game, and his defense. So because of his overall career and how he led a team all the way to the NBA Finals in 2009 is why Dwight Howard is ranking here at 3 for me for first overall picks. At number 2, I've got Anthony Davis. Pretty easy decision here for number 2, and I think most of us can agree that after this season, with AD helping lead the Lakers to a championship and being dominant on both ends of the floor, we can agree that his overall career so far has been worthy of a top 50, if not a top 40 player of all time. So that's obviously why he's ranking here, and really throughout his career, he's shown that he's an MVP type of player, consistently been a top 10, if not top 5 player in the league, been a DPOY type of player, and now he's contributed to winning a championship. So he got the full package throughout his so far 8-year career, and he's still going, so he definitely ranks here in the top 2. And number 1 is LeBron James. When LeBron was drafted as the first overall pick in 2003, he came into the league with the most hype of anyone we've ever seen enter the league. And he lived up to that by becoming arguably the greatest player of all time. So there you have it. Those are my rankings of the first overall picks from 2000 to 2019, from Anthony Bennett to LeBron James. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. For anyone watching this on the day of the upload, I hope you guys enjoy your first night of the new NBA season tonight. Personally, I'm super excited. I can't wait for these games. And also to anyone watching this before Christmas, Merry Christmas to you all. I hope you guys have an awesome Christmas and you watch all the NBA games and spend some great time with your family. Have a great Christmas. Next video for me is coming out Boxing Day. I thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.